Yes, indeed, folks, you're tuning into Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. I appear to have engaged some kind of webcam feature. Oh, God. Studio cam is enabled. Yes, indeed. Go to CynicalBrit.com. Go click on the chat button at the top of the... Actually, the bottom of the screen, in fact. It's called Cynical Chat. Go click there. I have the studio cam enabled. There appear to be Cheos, a Yoshi, and some kind of Wind Rider involved in this. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. It's a little bit crazy. I am disturbed, quite frankly, by this. You can see the might of the studio, which includes a variety of very interesting things, including this, which looks rather delicious, won't you say? Should we drink on the air, folks? Yes, of course we should drink on the air. Ah! Ah! Oh, yes, now we're talking. It's good stuff. Right, ladies and gents, let's make it happen. Okay, so I can't say that I have been all that impressed, quite frankly, with a certain person. So, who is this person, one might ask? Who is he? Who is the person that has not impressed me? Indeed, who is the person that has not impressed me much? Ha, ha, ha! Well, the answer to that question is, of course, Mr. Christian Belt! Yes, that's what I'd like to assault him with. So who is Christian Belt? Christian Belt, ladies and gentlemen, is a columnist for WoW.com. So, who is WoW.com? WoW.com is a big blog. You should know about these. They used to go by the name of WoW Insider. They do not anymore. Oh no, absolutely not. So, this guy writes a usually reasonable column by the name of Arcane Brilliance. So, Arcane Brilliance is a mage column, and it writes all about mages and all sorts of stuff like that. Yes. So, the question is this. What has he done this week to annoy me so much? Well, let me tell you. So, he wrote an article called An Argument for An Argument for Raiding as a Frost Mage. Sorry, I have difficulty reading that because my brain blocks it out. Any of you that's ever read Discworld will know that the explanation for everyone not seeing crazy stuff like death is that their brain just blocks out something that they don't believe can actually exist. So when I read an article on a site that's read by more than 7 people that says an argument for raiding as a frost mage, my brain blocks it out because I don't believe that such a thing could possibly exist. But no, it does. It actually exists. I cannot believe it. It's unfreaking believable that such a thing would exist. I can't imagine. So, let's talk about this, shall we? Let's explain the concept behind this, assuming that we actually can. Because, good lord. Right, so, this article, I'm going to link it in the chat room. Both chat rooms, by the looks of it. We've actually got something of a webcam party going on in the live chat right now, so feel free to get involved. Right, popped it in the chat room, the IRC there. Let's pop it in the other one. Where the hell's the button for this thing? I have no idea what's going on in the chat room. I think this stuff is... There, haha! Yes! I know what I'm doing. What the hell's Eeyore doing there? My listeners are insane, evidently. Right, so, let's talk about it, shall we? Did I close my chat window accidentally? I think I might have. Oh well, never mind. You'll have to do. So, this article is... It's the kind of thing that you would expect to read on the WoW forums. Now, I post on the WoW forums from time to time. Mostly out of morbid curiosity than anything else. So, one has to wonder, therefore, exactly why one would be paid for posting an article the quality of which you would expect on the WoW forums. Normally, I don't get paid for posting on the WoW forums. It would be nice if I did, but I don't. So, I've got to deal with that fact. So, let's read it, shall we? An argument for raiding as a frost mage. So, he comes up with some benign quips, and we can ignore most of those. And he says, hey mages, let's have an argument. Okay, no such argument exists, to begin with. Because you can't argue for raiding as a frost mage. Why? Because it's suboptimal. So, let's talk about it. So, he says, I will present my reasons why raiding as a frost mage is viable. It's not. Why? Why do I say it's not? Because it's mathematically inferior in every possible respect. You are wrong. It's as simple as that. You don't get the wherefores, the whys, but the ifs and the buts. It just doesn't happen. It's wrong. You can't raid as a Frost Mage and be optimal at the same time. It's an oxymoron. They are mutually exclusive at this point in time. Do you not understand that? What is so hard about the fact that every single good player on the planet says that raiding as a Frost Mage is a bad idea? Look at elitist jerks. Look what they have to say. He was like, oh, but elitist jerks are so elitist and jerks. Really? Wow, it's like they advertised that on the can or something. It's bizarre that people would want to go against this grain. So let's read his arguments, shall we? Yes, his rationale, his reason. So what's his reasoning? So he's saying, oh, well, recent patches have brought significant upgrades to raiding viability as Frost Mage. Nah. Forthcoming patches continue the trend. Frostbolt's spell power scaling is increasing, and Brain Freeze will trigger a Frostfire Bolt. Great. Has that happened yet? No. Does it even matter? No. The math's been done on this already. That's the point. It's still inferior. That's the point. I argue for raiding viability for all specs, but what I do not do is use a spec that is suboptimal. Why? Because that doesn't help the cause. That to say, hey look, the spec's suboptimal. We get the fact that the spec is suboptimal. What's so wrong? How difficult is that to understand? We get it. We understand it. That doesn't make us want to play it. In fact, it doesn't make us want to play it at all, because it's rubbish. Right. So, reason first, the DPS gap is closing. That's not a reason. Closing doesn't mean closed. Let me demonstrate this in a visual form. So, here I have a copy of Star Trek Online. The box is now open. Let's empty it of rubbish. These are very cool postcards, by the way. The box is open. The box is half closed. The box is closed. How difficult a concept, one might ask. If it's not closed yet, then it's no bloody use to anybody. I get it. We want Frost to be viable. Okay, that's fine. But saying that, oh, it's not quite as rubbish as it used to be, is not a good argument for using it. It's terrible, in fact. So, that's his argument. That's his first reason. That's his opener. It's not quite as rubbish as it used to be. Oh! Reason 2, survivability. Yes, the very thing, quote, that makes Frost such an attractive PvP choice is also of underrated value in a raiding environment. You want to know why it's underrated in a raiding environment? Because good players don't die. That's the point. Good players do not die. They don't need survivability because they're being healed. How difficult a concept is that to understand? One must wonder. I can't imagine. If you're dying, you suck, or your healer sucks. How difficult a concept? I don't know, perhaps alien. Alien for some people. Ugh, good lord. You shouldn't be dying to begin with. If you're dying, you suck or your healer sucks. If you stand in the fire, no amount of ice blocking is going to save you, because you are rubbish to begin with. You might survive one, maybe even two of those things you should have not been in the first place, but the third is going to get you. Why? Because you're rubbish. You'll make the same mistake over and over again, because you're relying on crutches to do the work for you, instead of not sucking. How difficult the concept is that, one might wonder. So yes, survivability. Reason 3, AoE. Frost mages have excellent AoE capabilities, making them fantastic to have around for trash pulls. Nobody cares about trash pulls. There are no hard trash in the game at all. Nothing. Nothing that requires anything of the sort. All of the trash that we've done in ICC thus far requires nothing in the way of skill, effort, or CC of any description. So I do not care if I've got amazing AoE as Frost, blah blah blah. My AoE is good enough already with Flame Strike and Arcane Explosion. It's good enough. I'm not going to sacrifice DPS and take the wrong spec in order to be good at AoEing trash. Since when does DPS on trash matter to anybody? It's totally irrelevant. 4. Kiting. Kiting! Woo! Put a Frost Mage and Donovan during the Lady Death Whisper encounter. I got a better idea. Tank Donovan! How hard is that? Oh, you can kite it round with the Frostbolt. Or you could tank it. And if your tank isn't wearing greens, he'll be fine. Why would... Explain to me the reason why you would not have your mage nuking the crap out of Lady Death Whisper. Explain that to me. The mage is a nuker. The mage does big damage. Why would you kite? Why would you even consider splitting your DPS to kite something that can be tanked? What is the point? There isn't one. A dedicated kiter makes it extremely easy. No, you just tank it. It's really not that hard. Honestly. Reason 5. This is the most hilarious thing. This is hilarious. Reason 5. Threat management. Threat management? What is this, Blackwing Lair? When did threat management matter in Wrath ever? Hell, when did it matter in TBC? It barely did. You want to know why you've got low threat? It's not because your significant amount of your DPS has been generated by your pet. It's because your damage is lower. That's why you've got low threat. You want low threat? I've got the most threat reduction out of any spec for mages, and I do more damage than you do as your Frost. Explain to me how threat management is important. I can go all out. I could burn everything. I could push DPS into the 5 digits without any problems whatsoever. In certain encounters, I could go nuts, and I will not pull aggro. Why? Because aggro is not an important mechanic anymore. They took it out of the game. It might as well not be there. Yet it is. Threat management, woohoo! And here's his reason 6. Shut up. This is the best thing. This is the stupidest part of this article. Seriously, I'll bring my Frost Mage because I like my Frost Mage, so cram it. How's that for having a discussion? How's this for having a discussion? Cram it? Okay, cram your Frost Mage off to another group that isn't mine. Stop specking suboptimally just because you want to be unique and beautiful snowflake. Ah-li-la-di-da. I read a post that was along these lines, and I'm sure it was probably inspired by this. It's like, why so much hate on experimental specs? Newsflash, folks, there are no such thing as experimental specs anymore. There hasn't been an experimental spec since the last major talent overhaul, and that experiment lasted all of a day until EJ figured out what worked and what didn't. That's it. There are no experimental specs. There are specs that work, and there are specs that don't. There are specs that are optimal, and there are specs that are suboptimal. Talk about the benefits of Frost, and look what a stupid idea it is to bring it. Refreshment. There are 3 other classes that can take Refreshment without sacrificing DPS. We don't need it. Shadow Priest can take it. Ret Paladin can take it. Survival Hunter can take it. It's in the Shadow Priest rotation and the Shadow Priest optimal spec. Why would you need it? 5% crit buff. Right, if you want to take the 5% spell crit buff and there is no improved Shadow Bolt Warlock in your raid, then, for God's sake, spec Fire, the better spec. It provides the same benefit. Why is this a problem? Why do people have an issue with this? I don't get it. I want to play the way I want to play. It's barely even a playstyle in and of itself. Mage is so similar. The Fire and Frost specs are so similar to each other in terms of how they play. You are literally arguing to play suboptimally and drag your raid down because you like the way a Frostbolt looks and how it sounds. That's your argument. That is your argument for not bringing your A game to a 10 or 25 man raid because you, on your own, that's 1 versus 24 or 1 versus 9 or even 1 versus 4. You, one person, want to break out of the norm. Yeah, why don't I just go drive on the wrong side of the road because I want to be a unique and beautiful snowflake? To hell if it inconveniences the other drivers or gets people killed. To hell with that. I want to be unique. Newsflash, there are thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of players that are like you. They look like you, they spec like you, they play like you. There is not a lot of variety in the game. Live with it. It's as simple as that. Don't encourage this populist nonsense. You could be all you could be. You could be whatever you want to be. That's an attitude to feed to 6-year-olds, not grown adults. What a pile of garbage. Why would you ever recommend this? Look, when Frost gets good, people will tell you about it. And the people that matter, like EJ and like all of the other mage blogs and sites that do it better, will tell you that it's okay to spec Frost now. Until that point, if you're specking Frost, you are deliberately playing badly. And don't give me that nonsense argument that a skilled mage can spec any spec. A skilled mage does more damage with a better spec. Simple as that. And if you were a skilled mage, you wouldn't feel the need to go down a crappy talent tree to begin with. My name is Total Biscuit. You are listening to the one and only Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com. Do I have this track? I bet I do. Here's some Foreigner, folks. Enjoy.